Hi, I'm Daniel Epstein from UC Irvine. On behalf of my team of co-authors, I'm thrilled to present our work mapping and taking stock of the past decade of personal informatics literature. Personal informatics systems, or devices and apps which help people collect personally relevant information for their own self-understanding, have continued to proliferate over the course of the past decade. It's emerged as a prominent subfield within HCI and UbiComp, both in the design and development of tracking tools like the award-winning UbiFit Garden, and in the study of apps and devices like Fitbits and Apple Watches, which are worn by 1 in 5 Americans. We therefore sought to provide a snapshot of the field to help the research community identify missed and future opportunities. We reviewed over 500 papers from the past decade, indexed by ACM, IEEE, and PubMed, examining the domains, methods, and styles of contributions typically explored. Since the full map of the literature is in the paper, we wanted to take this presentation opportunity to reflect a bit more on the state of the field of personal informatics. I therefore asked scholars on social media to suggest what we should consider studying more, and in the rest of this presentation, I'll highlight some future directions suggested by researchers alongside some of our findings. A trend that we noticed is the wide array of domains studied and designed for, which Christina Chung echoed in considering what counts as personal informatics data. Most research, 83% of the papers that we examined, have looked at health and wellness tracking, with physical activity being a particular focus in nearly half of these papers. Continuing to explore new domains is important for better understanding the different ways people receive value from tracking, the negative consequences of tracking, and opportunities for future technologies. We see value in spending more effort understanding and supporting tracking in widespread domains like personal finances, and in domains crucial for society like sustainability. Researchers like Sarita Schonebeck also point to the importance of understanding self-tracking in newer media, like content creators leveraging social media analytics for self-understanding. In our review, we found increasing interest in studying and supporting different stakeholders using self-tracking in social settings, such as in healthcare settings, among families, in athletic teams or groups, or in society at large. Sean Munson, Herman Saxono, and Julie Kientz all see this as an important direction, highlighting a need to move data across settings and supporting collaborative tracking. Researchers like John Freilich and Yunkyung Choi hope that we can design more and better tools to help people who have been left out by current self-tracking tools, such as people with disabilities. But there's still a lot of work necessary to think through how to personalize or re-envision how these people track. A challenge we observed is that as the field has matured, a lower rate of publications contribute new artifacts or systems. This may be a typical evolution of research topics, but as a field, it's worth considering how we can promote more artifacts, such as encouraging demonstrations, evaluating efficacy prior to behavior change, or evaluating lower fidelity prototypes. Alongside significant interest in broadening what we're designing tools to support, researchers like Katie Seek, Ian Lee, James Landay, Edison Tomaz, and Matthew Kay also hope the field deepens our investigation and revisits classic problems core to the design of self-tracking tools, like improving reflection around self-tracked data. They point for a need for tools to move beyond basic analytics to deeper insights, highlight uncertainty, provide mindfulness, and support telling stories. In our review, we noticed that research has by and large focused on studying and improving collection and reflection. Improving technology's ability to support these goals will help make tracking more viable, but we also hope to see more work examining how technology can support less studied stages of self-tracking, like preparing to track or moving from reflecting on data to acting on it. It's perhaps a little less obvious how to leverage technology to address these barriers, but important for making self-tracking accessible and useful. Julie Kientz, John Freilich, and Sean Munson also hope for more work on the study of and support for self-tracked data in building population-level understanding around how we live and experience the world. But Sean and John highlight that this is much more of a research dream than a reality and is only really possible by large companies, while Julie points out that building this understanding from current self-tracking tools is biased towards who uses them, excluding some of the most vulnerable and marginalized people and limiting generalizability. And finally, researchers like Chris Elston and John Freilich call on the field to consider the role of personal informatics technology in perpetuating surveillance and wonder whether there can be business models which allow individuals to keep their data personal. Some papers in our review have considered these questions, such as designing a system to allow participants to filter data from being shared with researchers, or surfacing study findings around data disclosure concerns. However, very few papers propose technical or human-centered solutions to these infrastructural problems, and we see this as a major challenge for the field to consider moving forward. We'd love to keep this conversation going, so check out the paper and feel free to mention me on social media if you have any other thoughts. You can also search through the tag list of publications in an online tool that we made that accompanies this paper. Thanks.